All right. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We are here with Brando Hassick. Welcome, Brando.
Thanks for having me.
Bro, if you could give me like a 15-second overview of who you are and what you do, can you shoot that off?
Ooh, all right. So Brandon Hassick, owner of Body by Brando over in Sydney. We've got 3 gyms at the moment. And yeah, I'm the owner of those 3 gyms and sort of a bit of a fitness brand that I'm trying to create over here, fitness education company.
Is there more gyms on the horizon?
Yes, we're looking for another one at the moment. We want to get to the 4th and then we'll reevaluate from there.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Is that like a passion of yours, just to keep opening gyms? Because I think you're on like probably the highest run rate of functional fitness in Australia of gyms.
It wasn't the idea. I mean, at the start, we wanted to have 10, but just with the way franchises are going at the moment, I don't think it's not where I want to go. It's just that I've got a really good manager sitting in limbo at the moment, and I want to get him a gym so that he can have a bit of a structure to his purpose and take that going. So I think we'll stop at 4 unless we, fill up from the bottom and we keep having really good managers come through.
Yeah, okay. It's I see gyms. I'm like, obviously I own a gym, and I'm like, it's a big responsibility, and you've got 3 of them, and then you're going to a 4th. It's wild.
Yeah, it's a full-time gig.
So, Brando, you own Body by Brando. What I see on social media by Body by Brando is shredded dudes, just absolutely peeled, dick skin thin, shred all over. Is there any secret to it?
Yeah, I mean, we do obviously put the highlight reel on Instagram. Like we do have a lot of shredded humans. So, I mean, we do really well with our programming and getting people results. Like that's one thing we pride ourselves on is getting results. And then obviously we use them as billboards to hopefully inspire other people to do the same. But yeah, the secret, I suppose, is I think that the whole environment of being surrounded by people who are shredded, and then you just don't want to be the lowest common denominator. So, you pull your finger out of your ass and you start working. Like that's the way that I've seen it so far.
It's like Fight Club for shredded guys.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, there's people that aren't always going to be the most shredded, especially when they start. Like not everyone starts shredded. That's the whole point of coming to the gym is you come and then we help you get to where you want to get to.
So in terms of like tracking these results, is that, how fast do you guys get results? Is it like 1% a week or 2% a week or like a kilo loss a week? Like what's like the typical, result that someone gets with you guys?
Yeah, obviously it's variable depending on where they're at, but we do we sit down for our onboarding sessions and we do a one-on-one onboarding, which really helps obviously create a relationship with the coaches. And then it helps us individualize the prescription of the nutrition depending on where they're at and where they need to get to. So early results are key for us because it obviously creates adherence to sticking to the program long term. So we do try and push pretty hard to get a result early with strict accountability and constant touch points with that client.
Cool. So do you have any like specific nutrition protocols you go through, or it's more just like a deficit, macros, calories, that kind of thing?
Yeah, so we do a fat pinch on their first session. So we find out, what their body fat percentage is, and then we just go through some sort of protocol to find them their calorie split and the macro split just to get them into, whatever deficit we see as the most appropriate for them.
So you go.
Yeah, it's no secret to what we're doing. Like it's literally just the super basic nutrition stuff, and then we help them try and dial that into whatever's going to suit their lifestyle.
So the secret sauce has to be in the accountability or the environment that you've built there, because what you're saying is not setting the world on fire, so to speak, and it's pretty standard in the industry. But there must be some secret sauce in the environment. Like, where did the environment come from, and like, the culture that you guys have built there? How did that kind of foster?
Yeah, true. It's like that, nature versus nurture thing. Hey, and I think it does come down to the culture that you build. Is like we set our core standards of like, it's not what you say, it's what you tolerate, and we just make sure that the coaches are always holding the highest standard of coaching and accountability. And then I think it just breeds that, that type of person that comes to our gyms, and we probably self-select over the time. Like you're not going to choose our gym if you're not going to stick it out. So we do get the people that come to the gym knowing that they're going to get the results if they just have a bit of guidance and accountability.
Yeah, okay. So the price point's a little bit higher than like typical CrossFit in the area, isn't it? Like in your cases?
Yeah, we probably are the most expensive in our area, I'd say.
So there'd probably be, a little bit more commitment just considering the price point there, someone that's willing to pay that much probably would be that little bit extra committed compared to like a regular CrossFitter. Sorry, I'm not speaking out of turn here.
Yeah, no, well, that's it. I mean, we're very similar from the movement perspective, and that's why we never branded as CrossFit, because we wanted that ability to have our own niche and have that option to go for the body composition, which CrossFit doesn't generally target. And then setting our prices, it was sort of that, if you're going to come along and pay that much, then you're probably going to, commit to that effort.
Yeah.
I'd love to be able to give out fitness for $10 a week and make it everyone's available to everyone. But you just find that, you can make it $9 a week and people still don't do it. Like, look at any 24/7 gym, and it's like the cheaper you are, it's like Netflix. You just have it because you can.
Yeah.
Do it because you want to do it.
The worse the adherence gets, the cheaper it is. Like I'm with you there. I think like pricing your service higher is a good thing. You're a business coach, so I'm sure you've run the numbers on that anyway. But like, would you find that, comparatively between your service and price point compared to someone that's cheaper that or have coached, like you guys get better results due to that adherence and attendance?
Probably do, yeah. I mean, our guys come a lot to the gym, and that's probably, part of the secret sauce is that we often get people doing 4 to 5, or sometimes people do 6 sessions a week. And that's like, we can do that because of the way that we program and undulate the intensity. So we do have higher intensity days, and then, days where they can sort of not beat themselves up so much that they can keep ticking over, either maintaining the goals that they've already achieved, or they can, work hard towards achieving the goals they want to achieve.
Yeah, cool. Thanks for the info. So, like with the programming in mind here and the training, if someone to get absolutely peeled, like basically everyone, 99.9% of people in your gym, what does the training look like for you guys?
So we do 12-week blocks is our sort of main structure that we run, more so just for, it allows us to have structure to the training and make sure that we are getting that consistency. So we get 12-week blocks with 4 3-week phases. So each phase goes for 3 weeks. And then within those phases, we sort of call them like a base, build, and perform. So week 1 is base, like find your motor patterns. Week 2, build on those. And then week 3 is where you're hitting your top numbers for that phase.
Mm-hmm.
I think you guys do similar.
Yeah.
Similar. And then the movements are generally like large compound movements so that we can get the biggest bang for buck in terms of muscle building and calorie expending, so that we can ultimately, build people that look shredded.
Yeah, cool. And then like intra-session, like in the actual session itself, obviously, like, are you doing many accessories? Or are they more in the conditioning piece, or like, is it just like main lift and then conditioning? Like, how does it look like session to session?
Yeah, so inside a single session would be like a 10-minute warm-up, like 5 to 10-minute warm-ups. So say if we're doing a back squat for the day, we'll generally do like an A series lift or an A1, A2.
Yeah.
Sometimes we do A1 and then a B1, B2 superset.
Yeah.
If we are going that way, but we find that we're better off just doing like A1, A2.
Yeah.
And then generally we get a lot of our volume in our conditioning.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
We get some, like we find conditioning isn't always just aerobic. We can do high volume squats, presses, pulls inside our conditioning, and that's where you get, the high volume.
Yeah, cool. So it's like warm up and A series is like 20 to 30 minutes. And then it's 30 minutes of conditioning where you hit a lot of the accessory movements and motor patterns. Yeah,
well, we do that sort of undulated. So, if we're doing Monday, Wednesday, Friday, there might be that sort of takes about 40 minutes for the strength and warm up. And then it's a shorter conditioning piece, anywhere from 6 to 12 minutes.
Yeah.
And then maybe twice a week we'll have generally a 15 to 20 minute piece. So we're not doing super long conditioning pieces. It's generally like a shorter one would be below 12 and then a longer one would be between 10 and 20.
Yeah, it's fascinating. Like the more I think about it, the more I think the special sauce there is somewhere in the environment and somewhere in the culture that you've built along with that. I think you've, maybe hit like a really good stride of members initially, and they've carried on the culture forward, and the coaches have obviously, yeah, that's probably what I'm thinking off the top of my head. I don't know if you've ever deep dive on it, but it's something that's like pretty, prevalent to me.
Yeah, well, I was one of my coaches at Waterloo. He's really, switched on, and he sort of was talking about the 4 M's of influence, and it's like starting with model first. So obviously, I was the first model to then get some clients that were motivated enough to follow the model that I had, and then we sort of went to, once you've got enough motivators, then you move into the mentor stage.
Yeah,
where those people will then become mentors, and that's the coaches that we have. And then we've obviously gotten enough of those mentors to motivate others to then multiply, which is the 4M. So,
yeah, cool. It's an epic culture. Congrats. So how long have you guys been running the 12-week thing? Because I feel like everyone's doing it now in the fitness industry. But a couple of years ago, it was like the new thing to do. Like no one was doing it. Everyone was just running random programs. And now everyone's doing this like all of a sudden 12-week thing.
Yeah, I noticed that too, especially in the CrossFit. Like a lot of CrossFitters, I don't know what their program. I think it's just like it used to be just workouts of the day.
Yeah.
And there wasn't too much rhyme or reason. We've been doing it for probably 4 or 5 years now.
Yeah.
We've had like blocks and phases. And we've tried different stuff. Like sometimes we do a 6-week block where it's an Olympic lifting block. But yeah, generally now we do 4 12-week phases a year and then fill in the gaps with, Christmas and stuff. So.
Yeah, I can definitely speak from like personal experiences. Just like as far as I knew, we were the only people a couple of years ago in Perth just doing 12-week blocks. And then all of a sudden everyone around us is doing 12-week blocks. And I'm thinking, where does this come from?
Yeah. Is everyone just getting heaps smarter or are they copycatting?
Yeah, you never know. So switching gear, Brando, you just had a baby. Is that a boy or a girl?
Boy, little Rupert.
Little Rupert. That's an interesting name. Was that like a tough name to come up with your partner, or was there debate on it? Like, how's that work?
She's pretty cool. So we were just talking about it one day and we were talking about business and someone goes, oh, you'll probably call your kid Rupert, like Rupert Murdoch, because you're so into business. I was like, that's actually a pretty cool name. It's so old school that it's like funny and he's just got to be a little old businessman.
100%.
And then Asha we just joked about it and then she liked it. So it just
Is your partner into business stuff or it's kind of like you're leading the force with that?
Yeah, she doesn't want a bar of it.
Really?
Yeah, no, I think because I talk about it so much, she's like, oh, well, not my domain. She supports me really well, but it's not, we don't talk about it in depth, that's for sure.
Yeah, okay. That's interesting. So I feel like, a lot of guys, especially our age, they're absolutely killing it with their training and fitness. Then they become a father and then it's all of a sudden it's like, fuck, I've got this other thing to contend with, not just myself. And I feel like you've managed that really well. Like there didn't seem like there was too much lag time between you having a baby and continue on with your fitness. You definitely didn't get the dad bod to the extent that a lot of guys do it. Is there any lessons that you've had to like adapt with, having a newborn child and trying to maintain strength and fitness?
Yeah, social media is a powerful tool to show people the highlight reel. I've been pretty lucky. I thought it would be a lot worse, so I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. I mean, I was 2 days in, I was back into training. That's part of my life that I never want to lose, so I thought I'll just prioritize that to be, obviously I own gym, so I've got to be a model of some point that I wanted to make sure that I could stand out there and feel comfortable doing what I'm doing. So it probably does make it harder for people that aren't in that. But I think the perception or, the way that you'd perceive it would be just make sure that you stay that way so that you can continue to be that model. Like put yourself in the shoes as if someone was looking up to you. I think that would be the way that I would sort of say it to someone else. Because a lot of the time when I market as well is I'm always thinking about the 40-year-olds that were good at fitness when they were in their late teens to early 20s, either had a family or started a business or got deep in their career and then let themselves go. So I already talk in that sort of, I don't want to get to that stage. So for me, it was just a pretty easy decision just to make sure I don't let myself go and just to prioritize the consistency of doing something. It's not as good as when didn't have a baby because I'm tired of shit all the time and, trying to run a few businesses does take its toll, but as long as you're doing something, like I'm going to jump off this and try and train for 45 minutes if I can.
Yeah. It's been impressive. I remember I saw you had the baby and like 3 days later you were, rowing and you had the baby in a cot next to you. And you were just doing like rowing intervals in the house. I thought, fuck, that's pretty good. He's getting after it and he's running some gyms. So like if you don't have an excuse here, then who the fuck has an excuse, Yeah,
that's it.
What have been like the biggest challenges juggling like a newborn and trying to train and run a business?
The early mornings. I'm fortunate that, I do have the opportunity now that I'm not going into the gyms at 5 o'clock to open them like I used to. So I reckon if I had had a baby 4 years ago, maybe even 2 years ago when I was still coaching, it would have been a lot different trying to, be up with the baby all night and then go to the gym at 5 a.m. and be there all day. Whereas now I sort of work from home most days until I go to the gym and speak with the coaches. But the biggest challenge was like I used to get up at 5:30 and just work from home with no distractions because everyone was asleep, and I'd like get all my shit done and plan out my Instagrams for the week. And then now like I get up at 6:00 and I'm with him until like 8:30. Yeah, my day's starting so much later. I just feel so behind the eight ball by the time I start working now.
Yeah.
But I'm just trying to not let that get to me too much.
Yeah, man, it would be a huge adjustment.
Yeah. Like all your spare time. And then, you know, my partner, she's not working at the moment. So, but it's still a big job for her. So she's just like, baby, I'm like, damn it. I was like, going to send some emails now. And now I've got to like chill with him, which is great.
Who has it worse, like in the new baby thing? It's the father or the mother?
I mean, it looks pretty tough. Like Asher's, yeah, you know, we don't have the best baby in terms of crying and sleeping either. So it's a pretty full-on job for her. So I'm probably not. Yeah, I think she's got the raw end of the stick, to be honest.
So what have you loved about, you know, the process of having a baby and the challenge and, you know, adjusting to your health and fitness, and what have you hated?
Loved, I reckon it's been a good perspective for me to not stress so much about getting shit done, because you generally, Parkinson's law, like whatever time you have, you'll generally use that time. So for me, it's like I'll spend 2 or 3 hours with him, go for a walk to the beach, and then I'll come back and I'll still probably get the same amount of work done as if I had have started working from 5:30.
Yeah, okay.
Like you just find things that aren't important, you just fuck them off. So it's kind of good. Like I've now got something else to care about. Than just working all day, every day.
Yeah. I can imagine you've become like a bit of a dad role model, or you will do at some point. Like, would you have any tips for new fathers? You know, like they're trying to juggle everything, juggle work, juggle commitments, juggle their training. I feel like the sessions maybe would get a little bit shorter and you'd need to become a little bit more efficient with your training time, but you could probably elaborate on that a little bit more.
Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, it's probably the same thing as work, right? Like if you've got 4 hours to do something, you'll take 4 hours. If you've only got 45 minutes, you'll find the most effective and efficient way to get the result you can. And it doesn't have to be perfect. You just got to get it done.
Yeah, okay. That's interesting. So, you know, with that in mind, in terms of your own training, yeah, it seems like for me, like social media, maybe it's just a perception of it, but it feels like it's changed a little bit for you in the last 12 months. I see you doing a little bit less Olympic lifting. Like, have there been any major changes in the last 12 months of your training?
Yeah, actually, I was stretching in November and I was just like in my bed reading a book, stretching my internal rotators because they suck. And then I woke up and I just couldn't walk. Like I tore my TFL. So I gave it a good nudge and it was like really sore for maybe 3 or 4 weeks where I couldn't walk on it. So training sort of really slowed down, and then Christmas hit, so I didn't train much. And then I was still injured till like February, March. And then my knee got sore because I wasn't using my legs.
Yeah.
So I went back to squatting and training. Like I got tendonitis in my knees. I was like, fuck, I'm having a rough trot. And then I just I really took a back seat on training when he was born, and like everything slowed down. But now I'm starting to get back into the passion of it.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Is there anything like on the horizon that you're training for, or it's just to be, you know, fitter, stronger, faster?
Yeah, just to be, you know, as fit as I can. But I do want to do some comps either this year, probably not this year now that it's so late. But yeah, maybe something next year. I want to give it a good crack. And when I'm 30, I'll be 30 next year. So,
mate, join us. Did you consider using like peptides or anything for your injuries, or you were just like, fuck, I'm going to hit this natural?
I didn't actually think of it, but I probably should have.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe I will. No, I've never really thought about that sort of stuff. Hey, I just always try and like go the harder route and just, you know, because I always see it as a way that I can then teach someone else. Like if peptides is your first shout. Did you do it for yours?
Yeah, I did for my wrist. I broke my wrist in December. I was going for 160K clean and jerk, and then landed, and then my elbow hit my knee, and basically this part of my wrist just bent back and hit here. So like full snap. And then I didn't even know what happened. So I was recording it, actually. I've got it on video. I haven't released it. And I just like watched the slow-mo and my wrist literally like bent in half. And I was like, should I just walk this off? So I kind of made like a squeal, and then I just went walking, and I put my hand in the ice bath, and then I pulled it out, and it was just like doing laps. Like it was just like full floppy. It was fucked. And my fiance was there, and she was like, should we go to hospital? And I thought, you know, may as well go to the hospital here. So we went to the hospital, and then it took like 11 hours to see a doctor because the hospital was rammed. So I sat in the emergency for 11 hours, and the doctor was like, this is fucked up. Like, how did you do this? So got an X-ray, and he was like, "We have to perform surgery now." And this was like 9 p.m. or something at that time. By the time I got there, so I went into surgery, and then I had another surgery the next day, and then another 2 surgeries like a couple of weeks later. Oh man, it was chaos. So then at that point, the doctor said to me, "He's like, it's going to be at least 6 to 7 months till you can like do weights." And I thought, fuck no. Yeah. So I found this doctor in Melbourne at this place called Biovate Labs, and he was like, "Yeah, I'll get you on this peptide, this peptide, this peptide, this peptide." So I literally did everything I could in terms of the peptide space, and I think in like 2 months I was able to like train. I had no like wrist flex. I still don't. That's my max like wrist flexion there. But I can train. I can squat, deadlift, and bench press and snatch. So that's cool. Yeah. But man, I wasn't taking 7 months off training.
No way. No, that's a full-on injury. I don't think it was worthy taking peptides for a slight TFL tear, but that definitely warrants taking whatever route you can.
Yeah. So he was like, "It's all safe. It's all legit." And I thought, like it's not like, a proper performance-enhancing drug, even though like WADA would see it like that. But I didn't feel guilty morally for doing it.
No, it's not a shortcut, I don't think.
So, is there anything in health, fitness, nutrition you've changed your mind about recently?
What have I changed my mind about? No, I mean, obviously we always grow and develop, but I don't think there's anything I've fully like done a backflip on. Oh, actually, the whole like carnivore and everything, I don't know. Like I started doing a lot of gut health, and my guts were really feeling really great on that. But I mean, yeah, so conflicting. Like I've just sort of like backed off that model, and like I was preaching it for a little bit and sort of jumped on the carnivore, like, eat a lot more meat and stuff. Like not that I don't think you should eat more meat, but I'm very much like that was something that I sort of was like, go back to just being omnivore, like eat meat, eat veggies, eat like carbs. Like I eat a very wholesome diet. It's not like a pigeonhole diet. And I only really tried it for maybe 6 weeks, but I wasn't a full carny.
How did you feel on carnivore?
Yeah, I felt fine. Yeah, like it's just really restrictive for me. Like I found that 4 weeks in, I was like, oh, just give me something else. Like everyone was saying that the craving stopped, but for me, I was like, oh yeah, I just want some hot chips or something.
Yeah. I feel you on that. I've done carnivore a few times. I feel like the first 2 weeks you feel awful because you're just adjusting to it. And then 2 weeks after that, you feel sick. And then 2 weeks after that, it's like, this fucking sucks because I have no carbs and I can't train with any intensity. And that's like a 6 week period. And then you're kind of like, maybe I should just introduce some, carbs back into my diet for training purposes. Did you get like that?
Yeah, well, that's the way we did our gut cleanse last year. So we do like a new style every year, just introduce something new for people so they can be exposed to a new style of dieting. Not because we think it's like the best thing, but just because it's like, just try this, like try the zone diet or try the carnivore diet or try this, like just so you can start to see how your body feels, and then you introduce things slowly. So last year we did the gut health where we started off with mostly meat and then introduced some food along the way, and I actually felt really good with that.
Yeah, okay. It's an interesting way of doing it. Yeah, I know Keegan was like mad into carnivore. I don't know if he's still doing it.
I'm not sure if he does.
I haven't caught up with him too much. So, Brando, how do people find you and how do they get in contact with you? Is there anything you want to mention?
They can find me on Instagram. I've changed back now, so I'm Brando Hassick instead of Body by Brando, but the gyms are Body by Brando. And otherwise, depends on what they want, if it's business coaching or fitness.
I remember you telling me you were thinking about changing the name. Is that still a thing?
So the gyms?
Yeah.
It came up at dinner last week at the North Sydney dinner, so the newest gym, and someone was like, yeah, why do you call it that? And then it sort of sparked it again. I hadn't thought of it for like a year, and then she was like, yeah, it's a bit weird that you call gyms after yourself. I'm like, oh. Thanks. So now I'm in two minds again.
Who was it? Just like a client?
She was literally like 3 days into the membership. She's like, yeah, I found you on Google. I thought it was a bit of a wanker move to call the gym after yourself, but I thought I'd try it out anyway. Oh, damn, I wonder how many other people think that way.
Oh, man, it is what it is. People are always opinionated on everything. Well, thanks for jumping on, Brando. I appreciate it.
Thank you, bro. See you soon.